Welcome back to Where Baggies Walk, episode 25. Tony's back. Must have been watching the episode last week, Sheelan. Thank you very much for doing exactly what this team wanted. We're also talking very quickly about Stoke. We know it's not the most recent game, but are more striking options needed in the next 2 weeks in the transfer window? AI is predicting the Baggies away fixtures. How many points will they pick up? And is it going to be enough to hit the top six? And who was the worst ever Baggies striker that you have watched live? We did goalkeepers last week, and this team, of course, put David Button in goal. We're asking you to put in the comments below who you think should join this team up front. We'll get Ben, Dan, and Aaron's view on all of that, of course, at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Dino is sunning himself, I think, in Marbella or somewhere very exotic this week, so hello, Dino, if you're watching, and we've got the rest of our team with us. Right then, Ben, I think Dino asked for it. Mowbray to the end of the season. That's exactly what we've got. Are you happy, man?
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole fan base is happy. I don't think I've seen one negative comment online or anything. I think it's brought everyone together. Everyone's buzzing with it. We can only see it as a positive, I think. I've just watched his press conference from today. It was really positive, and hopefully the players take on board his inspiration, because I can't see how you can't be inspired by someone like that. And hopefully the football lives up to what it did 15, 16 years ago, and we push on now. So yeah, really happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, you two happy with it? Right decision in the end?
Yeah, 100%. I think. I mean, after Wiki was sort of denounced as the favourite out of the running, I think he was like the most sensible appointment to make. I think a lot of the other names were a bit. It's a bit shaky, in my opinion. I think there was a general consensus as well there that there was no front runner as well, and not everyone really liked the football maybe of Sean Dyche or the name of Steve Cooper for perhaps. But I think the appointment of Mowbray is very good, and as Ben said, it's very positive as well.
Good stuff. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm really quite excited about it, to be honest. It got us playing some fantastic football. The season that we won the championship, very attacking. Like he wasn't the kind of manager to let us just sit back and protect a 1-0 lead. So it's a very positive appointment.
We'll have a chat about the Stoke game in a second, but he's also brought his team with us. Team with him. Sorry. There they are. Damir is staying. Aaron, you tweeted about this, I think yourself. Actually, it's probably more just as happy as Damir was staying than Tony Mowbray was coming from some fans. Why has that elicited such joy for fans?
I feel like he during his period without Carlos obviously being here, and it's been the front name's been Chris Brunt, but in my opinion it's been Damir who has been the mastermind behind our performances. Really, I think a lot of the positivity has come through him. I think he's a statistical analyst, so I think a lot of the game ingenuity and the game knowledge comes from him, and I think it's a very positive step forward. I think obviously Mowbray brings the culture and the playing style, but the more modern way of having a coaching team is to have the stats and to know what's the areas to break down, the areas to of teams to go for, and on match days. And obviously that's a very tough role in today's game. So I think he's very good at that as well. So yeah, it's a very good thing that he's staying.
Okay. Cheers for that. We recorded this before the Middlesbrough game, and of course it would be Middlesbrough's first game. He has to go up and see old friends up there. But Ben, what has he got to sort out at home for you in terms of how you're playing? Because you battered Stoke in the second half, but it's another 1-1 at the Hawthorns.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to say. Really, play a bit more on the front foot. I think he went down to the players at half time on Saturday, and after that word, we battered him for 45 minutes. And if that's kind of the impact he has just from a 5-minute team talk, then hopefully after a week or so's training, we can really play a lot more on the front foot. Play to our strengths, use the wider men, and flood the box. I think that's what we're going to do, because he knows we've not got a striker in at the minute. So I think he's going to put as many attacking players on the pitch as he can and get as many bodies in the box and sort of play that way.
Okay. He said, Dan, on the culture at the club, that hopefully the players appreciate that I care about them and their careers. I'm always trying to help. That's the culture I'm trying to bring. We're all on a journey together to try and get them back to the top flight. So from a man management point of view, there's probably no one better, is there, than Tony Mowbray to just put his arm around some of these young players that you have and bring the best out of them. Oh, we've lost you, Dan.
With the likes of Swift and Dean Garner, hopefully you can get them working and firing on all cylinders.
Oh, sorry, Dan, something went wrong. I think my end then, or
I think it was my end. My brother tried to ring me for some reason.
Can I do that? Can I do that bit again?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's go back to that one.
Just texting.
Cheers, Ben. Dan Mowbray says on the culture, hopefully the players appreciate that I care about them and their careers. I'm always trying to help. That's the culture I'm trying to bring. We're all on a journey together to try and get back to the top flight. There's no one better in terms of man management, is there? He's going to put his arm around some of them players that just need that boost, isn't he?
Yeah. Hopefully he can bring the best out of players. Like with the likes of Swift, he hasn't been performing. We all know that from this season. And to be fair, like Dean Garner, he had an all right game. He didn't really, well, apart from his goal and a little bit of skill, but I think he still looked a bit lost. So hopefully he can bring the best out of them pair and get them firing on all cylinders again.
Okay. I don't want to go over the Stoke game too much because it's old news. But the main thing coming out from that, Aaron, was that a striker wins that game. And there's lots of crying out that in the last 2 weeks that Mr. Patel might try and get you one. Luke says, I really don't know how we didn't win that comfortably, but actually I do. We don't shoot enough. We played well. Robbins has a job on there because Stoke just died in the second half. We were excellent. Styles just growing into the team. 2 points dropped, sadly. Do you agree, Aaron?
Well, I can agree that we need a striker, but I don't agree with the fact that we didn't shoot enough. Because I think we had 23 shots? I mean, granted, a lot of them weren't, but, on target, which is obviously where a striker comes in. Someone who can actually convert a few and at least try and trouble the keeper. But to say that we didn't shoot enough is a bit of it's like you didn't watch the game, really. You know what I mean? It's like, I think they had 5 shots converted, obviously, their goal. I think we had it was at least a good 20 odd. It was it was enough to win you the game. A decent striker would have put a few of them away. I think we had a fair few chances where I think Grant should have passed for one of the chances where he sort of spurned it, and it's things like that where a number 9 would have had the knowledge and the calmness to think about what the best thing to do. I think Madger in that situation would have been great because obviously Madger he's more of a deep lying forward in as a whole striker, but I think that would have worked in that game, especially because his link up play as well. He brings a lot more players into the team. Especially the wide players and Grant, Dean Garner, Johnson to name a few. But it's just games like that where you just need the killing edge, and I think obviously that's something we need to address in this window.
Okay. We'll move on then from that. Before we do, you can help us get to where we need to get to. We are so close. Thank you so much for getting us closer to 100. I think we're 8 short of this time of recording. If you can get us to 100 by this time next week, that would be absolutely amazing. We'll give you much love, and of course our 100 subscriber will definitely give a shout out to as well. So help us do that. Right. This week, of course, last week we talked about the AI predictions for the home games. This week we're looking at the away games and seeing what AI has in store for us. That one. This is what it says. First of all, it said there'll be 3 more wins for you away at Millwall, Bristol City, and Coventry, which will please the locals. Then draws against Middlesbrough this week, Plymouth, Leeds and Burnley, which is obviously good going, and then you will lose to Norwich and you'll lose to Cardiff on the last day of last away game of the season. So what's that? 13 points, is that? Yeah, 13 points. So, Ben, would you take 13 points if I offered it to you now?
Yeah, I think so. Looking at those games on there, I think some tough away games there. Burnley away is a tough game. Coventry away is a tough game. Our away form in general has not been too bad, I don't think, compared to last season. We haven't improved in that area. I think we're more than capable of going away from home and beating anybody, to be honest. So 13 points out of however many is a decent return, I think. So yeah, you definitely take that.
Okay, Dan, do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. 13 points away from home, you'd snatch at that every time. Yes, there is some tough games in that as well. So yeah, 13 points is pretty generous, to be honest.
Okay. Aaron, this weekend we've seen teams in and around you dropping points. Middlesbrough aren't going good guns at the moment. Blackburn are stuttering at the moment. Watford can't win away from home. So this 5th and 6th place is absolutely wide open, isn't it? But do you also fear that the teams just underneath that bracket of yourselves and that lot are starting to catch up a bit as well? Teams like I'm talking about teams like maybe like QPR, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, even as well. This is going to be a bum fight for these last 2 playoff places, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think 5th, 6th, and 7th are all on 41 points. I believe that's us, Borough, and Watford as well. I think Watford are a great side. I mean, they showed that against us when we played them earlier on in the season. They took us off the park, and honestly, we were second best for the whole of 90 minutes. So there's obviously a lot of quality below us, which means that we need to be on our A game for 90% of those games. I mean, obviously, there are games where you're not expected to win. Away to Leeds, Burnley, which, to be fair, draw would be good. Would be good going. You take that on the day, but I feel like there's a lot more games there which are winnable. To name Cardiff and Plymouth away, I think they're sort of the ones where you look to go and get 3 points from, rather than one from 6. Which I think would be quite disappointing, to be fair. I don't think Cardiff have been the greatest. I think that obviously they beat Swansea the other day, which is obviously good for them. But it's sort of a place where I think we'd want to go to and put a statement win out, especially at Plymouth as well. I think Plymouth obviously, just got the new manager who speaks quite well, but I don't think he's actually done much for them in terms of results. So it's a place where you'd like to go and just absolutely do them, because they're a team. I think they're rock bottom of the league, so it's the same as like Rotherham in past seasons, where you go there, you expect to win, you expect to do a number on them. It's a sort of same situation where if you didn't, you'd be a bit disappointed. I mean, a win would be great, but obviously you want the goal difference as well. Because of how close the teams are around us. So every point and every goal counts in this situation. So I think Mowbray's attacking football as well will definitely help us.
Okay. Something romantic about Tony Mowbray managing West Brom. I don't know what it is. It's going to be, yeah. We've got David Moyes back at Everton. We've got Tony Mowbray back at West Brom. It's yeah, and if anybody can get you up, it's definitely going to be Uncle Tony, isn't it? Right, last one then this week. Last week we asked you to name the worst ever goalkeeper to start our little January chat of the worst ever West Brom side you've seen. As I said, the guys very quickly decided on David Button. Took no time at all to discuss that one. Let's see what they've come up with this week, as we asked them to the worst strikers they've ever seen. Drop us a comment below to let us know if they've missed any. Ben, can you kick this one off for us? To give us one name.
There's an obvious one, which I think one of the lads might say. We went for a stage in about 2014-15 where we signed decent name players who just turned out to be awful. We had Samaras, who was awful. We had Ricky Lambert, who was awful. We had Marcus Rosenberg, who was scoring goals for fun in Europe, but couldn't do anything with us. So those three, we had them all at once, actually, but neither of them were any good at all. But Ricky Lambert came with a big reputation and a reputation for scoring goals in the league, and didn't really do anything for us. I don't think he even scored for us, actually. So Ricky Lambert's going to be mine.
Okay. Thanks, Ben. Dan?
One from, I think it might have been the Tony Mowbray era, actually, when he first came to us, but Sergio McDonald. It was quick, but he just had no end product. I think he made so many appearances as a sub. I think he only started like 1 or 2 games, and he couldn't hit a barn door. I remember one game. I think we played Middlesbrough in the League Cup, and it went all the way to penalties. Sergio McDonald steps up, and I'm sure that ball still hasn't landed yet. we gave him that chance to actually put his name and score a penalty, and yeah, he completely skied it. There was his chance, and he blew it.
Right, good shouts. All of these. Aaron, can you better this?
Well, I think the obvious one, which obviously I don't think would be an Albion worst 11 without naming this man, would be Kenneth Sahor. I think 8 million quid. I actually paid 8 million quid for him, which is crazy. I mean, Cardiff were laughing to the bank in 2018, 2019, wherever it was. I don't think we've done a worse bit of business since. It's one of those where you look back and you think, why would you even contemplate paying £8 million for a player who scored maybe, I think, 6 or 7 as his best tally for a season? It's not exactly what we needed at the time, and I don't think it's what anyone would ever need. I mean, he was 6'4" and couldn't jump. He couldn't trap the ball. He couldn't chest it down. He couldn't head the ball. He could barely shoot. I mean, I think away when he went along to Millwall, they had that chance where he put out for a throw-in from on the edge of the box. So that says a lot about him. But yeah, I think I've only ever seen him score maybe once live, and that was against a poor League One Charlton side in the FA Cup. So obviously you can see that's where his level was at the time anyway, and I don't only imagine it's dropped off a cliff since then as well. So yeah. It's the fact I paid £8 million, and I think he has to be in this 11. Number 9 as well. He was.
well represented. Let us know then, as we've said in the comments, if they've missed any, and then we'll get Dino's next week. Next week, doing the defenders, the whole back four sorted out. So have a think on that for the next 7 days. Safe travels. Anyone's going across the country with West Brom, of course, this week, obviously up to Middlesbrough, and of course it's Portsmouth at home this weekend. You can stomach listening to that bell for 90 minutes, which they ring. It's good. And of course, you did them at Fratton Park, and actually was one of your better performances, wasn't it? So hopefully, another 3 points on the board this weekend. We'll review the Portsmouth game and the Middlesbrough game in Mowbray's first couple of starts next week. Join us for that. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Where Baggies Walk. Drop us a subscribe. We are so close to 100. Go on, make our day. See you next week.